So one of the founders of one of the antecedents of Sopra Steria was the FI group, which may or may not have stood for Females International. And that was founded by Stephanie Shirley in the 60s, before the Equal Opportunities Act came into force. And she was writing, because we didn't have digital comms in those days, she was writing to companies to say, I could come and work and do your IT for you. She was getting rejected and rejected and rejected. So she changed her name to Steve. And suddenly, she got, come and have a meeting. And if you've ever met her, she's got a pretty forceful personality. Once you've met her, she got the job. And it's a great story. And Steve Shirley, Dame Steve or Dame Stephanie Shirley, is a real inspiration, a real role model to a number of people in this company.
One is give you a bit of a blast from the past, a perspective from the 1970s and beyond, what it was like then and what maybe has changed since then, and also identify a few things that I think are really important for us, particularly as women in the workplace today, and what we should be doing. The first time I went for an interview for a promotion, I was called in and told that I had given the best interview, I was clearly the best candidate for the job, but they were sure I would understand that they'd given it to the bloke that sat next to me because he had a wife to support. I was invited to my first professional networking event on the basis that women came along to make the sandwiches. And probably worst of all, when I attended my first management development course, I walked into the room and one of the guys said to me, "Are you sure you're in the right place? There's a knitting course next door." Today, I think that is very different. There are many more women in senior roles. I think the skills that women naturally bring to the workplace, empathy, emotional intelligence, are much more recognised and much more valued. I think that's really important, that we don't tell women today that the way to get on is to sort of ape the behaviour of successful men. I did a review with a young woman who works for me, following some management development training, and one of the things she'd asked for as part of that was, could she come to some meetings and see how they worked and gain some experience. So yes, that was fine, and she came along, and I was chatting to her afterwards, and she said that she'd been inspired, that she'd seen a meeting that I'd managed, she'd watched me walk in, conduct the meeting, that people listened to me and they seemed to respect what I said. And she said, as a result of that, I've reviewed my career aspirations, upwards I should stress. I've reviewed my career aspirations, and I'm going to seek to do something a bit more than I was originally hoping.
We are 50% of the population. When we go into universities, we are 50% of STEM enrolments are women, but they're not distributed equally. So within computer science, the stats I've got here, only 17% of undergraduates are women. That's 79% in medicine, so they're doing well at recruiting women, but computer science isn't seen as being as popular. And my statistics on women in the boardroom are, FTSE 100, 7 women CEOs, 14 men called David, 17 men called John, and 19 men who have the title Sir. So my key point is I didn't know where I was going when I left school, left with the clutch of O-levels, didn't want to go to university, wanted to get a job, and here I am now as the managing director. Yes, it's taken 40 years to get there, and there's some false starts and dead ends along the way, but I think if you take advantages of the opportunities you're given, you'll get there. Find mentors to help you on the journey, and have that role model, someone to aspire to. Dare to dream.
Along this afternoon. Jen has asked me to talk about networking. And obviously that's a huge topic, so what I'm actually going to focus on is thinking about networking in the context of actually going to external events. Networking internally in an organisation is also super important, so the fact that you're all here today, excellent. But I'm just going to share in the next kind of 15 minutes or so just some of the thoughts over the many years that I've been involved in networking. I'm going to share some of my thoughts with you. I love networking. People who know me will know that I love meeting people. I love the fact that when you go to an event, you never quite know who you're going to meet and what opportunities that might lead to. And I think that is the best way to approach anything like this. There are just so many opportunities out there, but you need to take them and you need to go, and you also need to think about investing time in them. So investing time in networking is incredibly important. You can network in loads of different ways. I actually like meeting people face to face, but there's loads of stuff online, virtual sessions, even simply just picking up the phone and having a chat with somebody. It's all about networking and connections. Networking is definitely an integral part of my job, running a network of female entrepreneurs and having a network of thousands of women who work in technology. Certainly networking is one of the key skills that I have and that has helped my career progression. I actually heard a stat that you're on average supposed to input 20% of your time into networking every week. I was like, that's the equivalent of one whole day of my working week. So you have to think about how you can embed it at different points, even if it's simply just having a coffee with a colleague who's not in the office very often, or getting out and going to a lunchtime networking event.
You share your own publications. Going back to me, I did that as well, of course. Sopra Steria shared it first, I shared it after, from my personal profile. Because who cares more about my success? Strangers or my network? And I heard this little sound in my pocket, and it was my Twitter. I looked at it, Julien Codonier. I was like, French company, probably a French colleague, I'll look at it later. I came home, I looked at it again, he said, we should talk. Who's this guy? So I googled him. Turns out he's the global manager, global CEO of Workplace by Facebook. Okay, how did that happen? That is pretty insane. Someone had tipped him off about my article in the Financial Times. So it's about taking hold of your own brand. You got to push it forward yourself because no one else will do it for you.
Just one last point, I'm delighted to be able to announce that we are about to launch our International Women's Network across Sopra Steria. So try it out. Like any network, it's all about what you put into it. So invest in it, try it out, and encourage your friends and your colleagues within Sopra Steria to join. It's open to everybody. It doesn't matter what shape or size you are, it doesn't matter what gender you are, it doesn't matter how old you are, everyone's invited. If you're an employee of Sopra Steria, then you're very welcome to join the network. So expand your network, get to meet some new people, hear some stories from some great role models, get some advice and support from the network, and be open-minded, because I guarantee one thing, you'll learn something from it and you'll gain something from it and become a better person.